Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Today, I am going to share my review of the Walking Dead Universe Roleplaying Starter Set from my friends over at Free League Publishing. This is written by Nils Heinz and Thomas Harenstam, with artwork provided by Martin Grip and Gustav Ekelund. And I apologize, I guarantee I've mispronounced at least two of those names. This box set is available now, carries an MSRP of $39.99, or grab the PDF over at DriveThruRPG for $9.99. All that said, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got the Walking Dead Universe Role-Playing Starter Set. Few things to mention before we get stuck in. First of all, my friends over at Free League Publishing were kind enough to provide me with this review copy. But neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this review with you. These days, it's important you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page of the two booklets which are included in this box set, but I do want to give you a very good feel for what you're going to find inside the starter set. Lastly, there is a short adventure, which is part of this. So if you are a player and your game master has picked up the starter set, or maybe they're considering picking this up and they have not run the Wolves Den, as a player, I recommend tune out when we get to that adventure. Now, of course, there are going to be spoilers. I am going to be discussing the adventure. So you do not want surprises ruined simply because you are watching this review. So when I hit the adventure, tune out. But of course, having said that, by all means, if your game master is considering picking this up, let them know about this review so they can approach this and make a far more informed buying decision. All right, so let's dive on in. I am going to save the rule book and the adventure for last. So I'm going to talk about everything else before that. So one of the things I should point out is, strangely enough, some of this stuff is not cut so that it fits in this box. So some of the pre-generated characters, the characters from the Walking Dead universe, don't really fit in this box too well. Kind of surprised by that. Okay, we have 20 dice. These are six-sided dice. These are our standard dice that we're going to roll to see if the player characters are going to succeed or fail in what they're attempting to do. The Walking Dead Universe Role-Playing uses the Year Zero engine. So if you're not overly familiar with the Year Zero engine, it is a dice pool system, and it uses six-sided dice. You'll have so many dice that you're rolling, you're looking to roll sixes. And usually, if it's not something that's very difficult, you only need to get one success. Now, depending on that level of difficulty, your game master may require the player to roll more than one success to be able to pull something off. So here we do have the custom dice, and we've got a bullseye for the 6. Then we also have stress dice. These are also six-sided dice. So they have two custom faces. One is the 6. Once again, we will get that bullseye. And then on the 1, we have a bloody walker hand. And this represents something bad happening. So as your player characters will acquire stress, start freaking out over things, they're going to get stress dice. Pushing a roll is going to cause you to have stress dice. So what it does is it actually improves your chances of success, but it also brings in the possibility of things going really bad, really fast. And a lot of times rolling a 1 or a walker, as it's called here, will mean there's a walker attack on that player character. So we've got those dice. We also have a threat meter. It's a dial. Goes from 1 to 6. We do have threat levels of 0 to 6. 0 means there's no walkers. That area has been cleared. 1 means there are some walkers about, but it should be pretty easy for you to evade them. And then a 6 means they are right there. They are touching you. They are that close. So, of course, the player characters want low threat levels, and different things will increase the threat levels, such as making a lot of noise. So we also have some maps. They are dual-sided. We have one that's Northeast Georgia, and then we also have Virginia. It's Southwest Virginia. These are pretty nice. They are paper, but they are treated. We also have a trio of encounter location maps. Show those to you in just a moment. We have 6 pre-generated characters, and these characters are from the adventure that's been included, and they are multi-gendered. So we have Terry and Terry Lee. Give you an idea. So the Year Zero engine has 4 attributes: strength, agility, wits, empathy, and we have a dozen skills. They are pretty broad. These numbers will indicate how many dice you get to roll. That's where the dice pool comes into effect. This is a pretty rules-light game. I was surprised that this was not utilizing the Twilight 2000 version of the Year Zero engine, because it's crunchier, it's more tactical, it's kind of more combat-oriented, which you would think The Walking Dead combat should be, but that's not the case. In fact, the main focus of the Walking Dead Universe Role-Playing starter set is more along the lines of the emotional impact and the emotional roller coaster that the player characters will ride, as opposed to being real tactical combat, crunchy combat rules. So we've got the pre-gens. Then we have 4 characters from the Walking Dead universe. Strangely enough, we get Michonne, but we don't get Rick Grimes. We get Glenn, but we don't get Maggie. We get Carol, but we don't get Daryl. It's kind of odd. And then we get Gabriel. So those are the 4 characters from the universe which are included in this box set. If you want to utilize these in the included survival adventure, you certainly can. But like I said, it's kind of strange. You would think, okay, Glenn, we get Maggie. Carol, we get Daryl. Michonne, we get Rick. Nope, not the case. All right, and then, of course, we do have these encounter maps. They are single-sided, and they vary in scale. Oops, that's upside down. So we have some that are kind of close in, kind of tactical, and others which are pretty far out. So there we have that. Going to give you an example. And then lastly, we have the 2 booklets. So we're going to have the rules. This clocks in at 40 pages. And this is going to give you pretty much the bare bones of getting started with the Walking Dead Universe role-playing. So we do not have character creation. We don't get a lot of explanation about the various different archetypes of the characters. We only get a handful of the archetypes even discussed. All the rest of that is going to be found in the core rule book. Now, we have a couple of modes of play. We have survival mode, which is just single session one-shots or very, very short scenarios. And then, of course, we have campaign play. Campaign play, you're going to find more information about that in the core rule book. This is mainly just focused on survival mode and giving you an idea of how to play and run the Walking Dead Universe role-playing. So we do have pushing rolls. So if you fail in an attempt to do something, you can't push the roll. You will add stress dice. So you add a stress die to your pool of dice, and you only ever add 1 stress die at a time. So no matter what's going on, you're not going to see a bunch of stress dice added to your pool. They are added 1 at a time. So here we've got our different skills: close combat, endure, force, mobility, range combat, stealth, scout, survival, tech, medicine, and manipulation. It's not mind control. And lastly, we've got leadership. So those are the skills. Very, very broad relatively abstract. So then we've got combat, and combat is broken up essentially into 3 different kinds of combat. We've got duels, which are small combats, one-on-one or just a few combatants on each side. We have brawls, which are far larger in scale. And then we have walker attacks, and they are handled differently. The Walking Dead Universe Roleplaying is a very lethal game. You would expect that. Death comes quickly. You get injuries, you have critical injuries, and depending on what you roll, you could be taken out right there and then. Also, walker attacks. There is a table for walker attacks. It is possible that a player character or NPC can be attacked by a walker, and that's it. It's over for them. So keep that in mind. Don't get too wrapped up in your player characters. It's one of the reasons why you'll have a safe haven with various different NPCs. They make for a great pool to replace player characters from. But as I mentioned, this game is more focused on the emotional toil of the zombie apocalypse as opposed to combat, fighting zombies, and so forth. We get a few pages dedicated to running the game for the game master, and that will wrap up the rule book. And then we get the Wolves Den, which is a survival mode adventure. This is very short. This is 16 pages, and it's disappointing. I will say that. There is really not much to this adventure. Here come the spoilers. So the players belong to a group, and 2 of the members of the group were found to be having an affair, and they decide they're going to take one of the 2 vehicles that the group has, the only 2 rifles the group has, a bunch of the food, a bunch of the medicine, and they flee in the middle of the night. So the player characters are looking to track down these 2 thieves. And then, of course, it's up to the player characters what they're going to do with them once they find them, if they find them. So I do appreciate the fact that we have our main NPCs are the wolves, who were our main antagonists during the 5th and 6th seasons of The Walking Dead. I like that tie-in. We also have a bunch of the various different wolves here that we have just short information to bring them to life. But all in all, the reality is this adventure starts when the player characters find the campsite of the 2 thieves who have run off. So you don't even have that exploration sort of aspect to this adventure. You start off, they've found the camp. There's a trail, leads them to a small town. Handful of encounters take place there, and then they run across the wolves, or the wolves run across them. That's it. Gotta be honest, this plot line feels like it would be sort of a secondary plot in an episode of The Walking Dead, as opposed to being the A plot in a series of episodes. So honestly, really disappointed with this adventure because there's not much to it, and there's really not all that much going on in it. So that's a look inside everything you'll find in the Walking Dead Universe Role-Playing Starter Set from Free League Publishing. Let's swing on over to the other camera so I can share some final thoughts and provide my review score. I'm disappointed in this starter set. I really, really am. And I guess part of it is because we've been so spoiled by the box sets that come out from Free League Publishing. The starter set for Blade Runner, the role-playing game, phenomenal. It's awesome. We just saw Dragonbane come out as a box set. Now, granted, it's not a starter set. It's the actual game. Fantastic as well. The Alien, the role-playing game box sets. I mean, the box sets are usually something to really get excited about from Free League Publishing. Unfortunately, with the Walking Dead Universe Role-Playing Starter Set, that is not the case. In fact, this reminds me quite a bit of the Tales from the Loop starter set, which I thought was awful. Now, this isn't awful. This isn't terrible. It's okay. I mean, it serves its purpose, but really, if we compare it to the other box sets that come out from Free League Publishing, right about the same price point too. Far, far more going on in those starter sets. Far longer adventures, which are going to take place over a series of sessions, as opposed to one that might take 3 hours to play out. And that would be if you throw every single possible encounter at your players. I don't know. Plus, it's kind of odd with the provided characters from the Walking Dead universe not really matching up. It's sort of weird, especially Glenn not having Maggie. It's like, really? Michonne doesn't get Rick? Seriously? I don't know. Is this awful? No, it is not. In fact, to be honest, I recommend simply picking it up in PDF because it is priced at $9.99. Yes, granted, you won't get those custom dice. You won't get the little threat meter. But come on, it's 6-sided dice. Do you really need to have custom faced 6-sided dice? They have bullseyes on one side, and then the threat dice have the walker hand. I'm pretty sure you can probably get the dice separately, too. I don't know that for a fact, but I would not be surprised if you can also purchase the dice separately. Now, thankfully, the core rulebook, I like quite a lot more than this starter set. I just think this starter set is really, really light on content, and it certainly pales in comparison to the other box sets that Free League Publishing has released in the past. This actually feels kind of rushed, even though it was delayed. This just has a rushed quality to it. Now, speaking of quality, production quality, really good, as we expect from Free League Publishing. Although, once again, I am surprised that the pre-gens and the universe characters, their sheets are too big. So you actually kind of have to squeeze them into the box. I was sort of surprised they aren't cut to the right size. But it's a minor quibble. All in all, like I said, this is just okay. So on a scale of 0 to 10, I give the Walking Dead Universe Roleplaying Starter Set a 5.5 out of 10. Pick it up in PDF. Do yourself a favor. If you don't necessarily need those custom dice, just grab the PDF. All right, that is it for this time out. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already, and if you do subscribe, ring that bell because it'll not only let you know when I share videos such as this review, it'll also inform you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thank you very much for watching. And until I see you next time, here's hoping all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.